How's it going, everyone? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be talking about why there is a lack of technicians and why more and more technicians are stepping away from the field. And before you say, well, maybe this doesn't affect me, it surely does, because these automotive technicians are working on your vehicle. And if they are frustrated and less qualified, it is surely to impact the way they fix your vehicle. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the video. So I'm going to give you 6 reasons why technicians are choosing to step away from the field. This is my personal and professional opinion. If you have a different opinion, if you're a fellow technician and want to share something, go ahead and leave a comment down below so we can go ahead and talk about it and discuss the situation. So first thing is first, it's the pay. So without a doubt, everyone does this for the same reason, right? We all want to make a living and make a good living at that. Now, if you're anything like me, I started this field because this was a hobby of mine. Not only was it a hobby of mine, but I grew up going with my dad on days off, Saturdays and stuff like that, with him to his place where he used to work at an automotive facility. So I would go there, I would just help organize and stuff like that. And I grew to love, being around cars, working with my hands, etc., and things like that. So with that being said, automotive technicians usually get paid in 3 different ways. It's either flat rate, which is what I do, salary, or a salary plus some sort of commission. So the way most dealer technicians get paid, especially on your average car, the higher end stuff is usually salary, is we work on a flat rate system. And I'll give you a quick example. If a job pays, let's say 1 hour, and you get it done in 45 minutes, you get to keep the whole hour and then move on to your next vehicle. Now, this is great when it's busy. Now, when it's not busy, or the job doesn't go as planned, which many times it doesn't, especially if you're in an area where there is rust all over the place, and oftentimes you run into all these hiccups, jobs take you longer than they actually pay you, which could be very frustrating. Additionally, a lot of those flat rate times come with some sort of a guarantee, which is fine. But unfortunately, a lot of times those guarantees are under 40 hours. So you can work a full 40-hour shift and sometimes get paid 20 or 30 hours, which is absolutely frustrating. Luckily for me, I do work in a union shop, so I get guaranteed 40 hours. And I've only needed to hit that guarantee one time in the last 17 years that I've been there. So usually I do pretty well for myself. But again, it can be often frustrating with the inconsistent paychecks. 1 week it'll be 70 hours. The next 2 weeks it'll be 45. Then it'll be 80 hours. Then it'll be 55. And it's just a super inconsistent paycheck. Now, like I said, when it's busy, it's great. But me being a senior tech, usually I get the cars that are a little bit more difficult and troublesome. So that usually slows me down. Additionally, I have guys that kind of under my wing and I help them out, which is fine. But that often gets overlooked and it puts me in a tough position because at the end of the day, I can't call Mr. Chase or Mr. whoever your mortgage is and tell him, well, I was helping out X, Y, and Z. So unfortunately, this month, I'm going to be a little bit short. So, always I base my decisions based off my base pay, which is horrible, and then move on from there. But, oftentimes as you make more money, you spend more money, you buy nicer things, so you get accustomed to that lifestyle. So unfortunately, when we have a couple of bad weeks or a bad stretch, it definitely hurts us. So it's just a bad pay plan, period. It'd be a lot better if it was a salary. Unfortunately, with salary, type of pay, a lot of people get lazy and take advantage of the system. So I think the best of both worlds would be some sort of a hybrid. So a salary plus some sort of commission. If you had X hours or whatever, X number, then you get compensated, for that, but definitely pay is beyond the most frustrating thing in this business, along some other things. But that would be just one of the things, in my opinion, that definitely frustrates a lot of technicians. And again, as you get older and you move up the chain, you think, well, I'm going to make more money. And oftentimes people or technicians peak and then start declining at a very early age, usually in their late 30s to early 40s, which you're at the prime of your career. In most situations, as an automotive technician, chances are you are not. All right, so the second thing, and this kind of ties in with the whole pay thing, is the amount of warranty repairs starting to come in. Now, if you watch my videos, you know that I am constantly doing warranty work. I'm constantly doing, all these recalls and things of that nature. As of late, I'm working on 1 to 2 prologues a day, oftentimes spending 1 to 3 hours per car and not getting paid accordingly. So it is very frustrating. Not only is warranty time and warranty repairs becoming more and more and more of a thing, they typically pay a lot less than a customer pay job would. And Honda does not, and I speak for Honda, other manufacturers probably the same, they do not account for rusted components. So for example, when we do a catalytic converter, we oftentimes on a back bank, so the firewall side, we have to move the axle and an intermediate shaft. Oftentimes it is seized. So not only do we spend extra time trying to remove that, but oftentimes you actually break that part because it is seized and essentially welded together. So Honda doesn't want to hear this. They don't want to pay for additional parts because the only felt component in their eyes is a catalytic converter. So additionally, removing those exhaust bolts can be extremely challenging, or any suspension component on a car that sees salt, brine, etc., etc. So if you're in the South, you probably don't suffer from this as much as we do from here in the North. So, it could definitely be frustrating for us. Now we have all sorts of tools and equipment and things of that nature to attack these, things. But it does take us extra time, also makes us buy us more equipment, more tools that if we were in another state and pay the same exact warranty flat rate time, we wouldn't need to be doing. And we will take, again, maybe double the time, 3 hours to get paid 1.4, 1.5, 1.6. And that is stuff that is not accounted for. And in my eyes, it is not, fair that we have to spend more time than the job pays. Now, I get a flat rate system. Sometimes you make out, sometimes you lose out. But, Honda should consider, and we do as well when we're addressing a customer pay job. Now, hey, this exhaust has a lot of rust. It's going to fight me. I'm going to charge an extra half hour, 45 minutes, an hour labor, whatever is needed and fair to get that job completed. Now, Honda, again, doesn't see it that way, and they pay what they pay, and that is it. So, unfortunately, that is another thing driving, technicians out of the door. Not only do we do more warranty work, that leaves less time for customer pay work, and also oftentimes with these lease programs and extended warranties and stuff of that nature, then again, customer pay jobs are less and less and less, and warranty jobs are more and more and more. And I do advocate for you as a consumer to get extended warranty on any new car you purchase, because one, a bad failure, it pays for itself, but on the technician side of things, it definitely is frustrating for us. And again, it's not the consumer's fault, and I advocate for it, but just seeing it from both perspectives, it's great for the consumer, not so great for the technicians. And at the end of the day, these are the technicians working on your vehicle. Okay, so number 3 thing on the list is the cost of tools and equipment. Whether you are a privately owned facility or a technician working for somebody, the constant having to buy tools is ridiculous. Now, some guys like to buy tools just because it's the latest and greatest. I personally like to buy tools when needed. So I'm not going to buy a tool that I'm not going to see myself using. Some guys like to do that. I personally don't. But regardless, I find myself spending hundreds to thousands of dollars each and every single year. And I've been at this for 17 years now. So initially, when I first came into the business, I had to buy that green toolbox you see right behind me, which cost me about $8,000 plus financing costs, and all the tools to fill that up. Now I have tools here. I have tools at work. The tools here often are, tools that I no longer need, or bought better tools as I got better and made more money in my career. Now, if you're an automotive shop, you constantly have to buy equipment. You have to buy diag tools. You have to buy tire machines, and that stuff does not last forever, especially software for these diagnostic tools. They constantly need updating, and, they get expensive real quick. Additionally, you need diag tools for electric diagrams, things of that nature. So it gets very expensive very quick, and it's a constant thing. It never ends. There's always new tools. There's always new procedures needed for and new tools for those procedures. Always better tools. Things of that nature. And it really gets to be overwhelming. And essentially like, well, I've been at this for 17, 18, 20, 30 years. Some of you older techs out there, and the constant need to buy tools, that they break. And, it just gets pretty overwhelming, and it's never a one and done type of thing. Yes, you can buy better tools and it'll last you 3, 4 times the amount of a cheaper tool. But, again, eventually that tool breaks and needs replacement, or you like something that's newer, makes you more efficient, and you're going to go ahead and pick up that new tool just to make your job a little bit easier. Again, here in the Northeast, we have a ton of rust. So there's tools we need to buy here that people in the South don't need to buy. But, that's obviously area based. But again, it's something that we do need to consider as an automotive technician. Okay, so another thing on the list is management. So if you work for somebody, that means you have a manager, and that means they have a manager, and then they probably have a president and an owner. So there's a lot of people to answer to. So sometimes you will relay something to your manager and it doesn't get taken care of right away. Something that may be going on in the shop, maybe something personal between you and somebody else, maybe something with broken equipment that doesn't get addressed very, quickly enough. And obviously that takes a toll on you. Also, a lot of these places, when you go in there, you've done the right thing. You're, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, all that good stuff. And you go there and you ask them for a pay increase because, it warrants it, and you get denied. That is very frustrating. Now, obviously, you can't just go in there and ask for a pay raise because you want one. I mean, yes, you could, but if it's warranted, there's no reason that you shouldn't be getting a pay raise. A lot of companies, a lot of different professions get evaluated once a year. A lot of automotive technicians do not. We get a small increase because we have a union, but it is peanuts. And when I mean peanuts, I tell you it is peanuts. So not very fair. We are actually up for a contract negotiation this year, and we're going to try to argue the cost of living and inflation and stuff like that. But, again, there's a lot of people to answer to in management. Sometimes, they're just very laid back. They don't want to deal with it, which is kind of the manager position, right? You have to deal with technicians, you have to deal with service advisors, parts personnel, the lane guys, customers, their manager, their boss, their, president, the owner of the company, et cetera, et cetera. But if technicians come to you and you want to address their needs, you simply have to listen to them. If you don't listen to these technicians' needs, and oftentimes they don't listen to them and get overlooked, then you're going to end up losing technicians. So the next thing on the list is a lack of respect from other professions. So I feel like automotive technicians are highly disrespected. Now, there is great technicians and there's obviously some horrible technicians, but fixing a car is not easy. There's so many different things that you have to know, from, obviously just hands-on stuff, diagnostic skills, whether it be trying to listen for a noise, a vibration, some sort of a short, a misfire, things of that nature. You have to be able to read all these tools, all these numbers, and understand all these digits, how one thing affects the others, just climate changes and how everything affects the automotive car, AC, brake systems, all that stuff combined all into one car. And oftentimes it is frustrating because the consumer, the owner, can't give you much information. And people will say, well, doesn't the diagnostic tool tell you everything? No, it just gives you a direction, gives you a code, and then that code, you have to decipher it and go and figure out what it needs. Oftentimes we'll get a customer that does not want to pay for diag time. Well, I don't want to work for free. Just like you don't work for free, I don't want to work for free. Now, yes, we get the guaranteed 40, but that's our shop. Again, I said earlier that most shops are not guaranteed the full 40 hours, which is frustrating. And oftentimes these people don't want to pay the diagnostic fee, which, I hear you, me either. But when I go to my kid's pediatrician and I pay the copay, and then I go back a week later, guess what I'm doing? I'm paying a copay again. It is what it is. And if you had a car with an issue and you fixed it, oftentimes we'll get the customer states after doing an oil change, his rear wheel makes a noise. It has nothing to do with one another, and we just get disrespected in a lot of different ways. Now, obviously, there is bad apples out there, and there's bad shops and bad dealers doing bad things. But most places, if you find a place that you trust and you know a service advisor and a service technician, and they have been great to you, meet them personally, ask them to come out. Hey, I want to talk to the technician. Talk to us on a one-to-one level, personal level, and just get to know us, and we'll get to know you. We're human beings just like you, and we want to address your issues. I wouldn't want my mom going anywhere and getting taken advantage of, or my wife or my daughter. So I try to respect everyone like they would respect me, and I would like to get respected along with any of my family or friends, and things of that nature. So, but oftentimes people will disrespect us. They'll say, well, you don't know anything, or you're just a mechanic, you don't know what you're doing. You look young. I got that often when I was younger, which is fine. I was young, but I probably been on the field more than most of the technicians there. But there's a lack of disrespect for automotive technicians, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it. I don't know if it's because we don't have a degree, like, if you go to college, like most professions or whatnot. But, again, we are human. We have to decipher a whole bunch of different issues, a whole different areas of the vehicle to try to figure out your issue. And last but not least, and this is item number 6, and this is probably the most important one, and it is simply the quality of life. Now, I work 6 days a week, whether it be going in on my day off, whether it be working 6 days for the dealer, Monday through Saturday. I've done this probably for the last 12 or 13 years. Yes, I am an ambitious person. Yes, I want to give my kids everything I didn't have. Not that I had it bad, but I want to do more than my parents could do for me, which is only fair. And I think everybody would aspire for the same thing. You always want to give your kids more than what you had, which is completely fine and fair in my opinion. With that being said, it does take time away from my family and my friends and stuff like that. So it does come at a cost. Now, I work those 6 days because I need to oftentimes to give everything I want to give to my kids and be able to live comfortably. Sure, could I work just 5 days? Yes, of course. Would I be able to do everything I wanted to do? No, even working 6 days, I can't. Even with the channel and everything other that I do outside of work, it still does not give me everything that I want to. But, again, I'm a very ambitious person, and the quality of life is just, a little bit compromised. If we got paid more and we made more on a reasonable 5-day work schedule, then there will be no need for any of this. On most occasions. Now, most techs struggle to make 40, 50 hours a week. Not everybody is as efficient, is as educated, as well known with the product as I am. Again, I've been with Honda for 17 years now, so I've got a lot of experience under my belt, and there's always a new day to learn something new. Just today, I learned something new on a Prologue. Yes, a GM product, but I had to fix it, so it is what it is. Every day is a new day to learn, but I would love to have a better quality of life, and I'm sure everybody else here would as well, because at the end of the day, there's got to be a nice balance. And as an automotive technician, oftentimes it's very, very difficult to find that, life work balance, especially once you have kids and stuff like that. It gets real complicated, but, I do what I got to do. I just wish I could do what I do in less days and provide for my family in the same way that I do now, doing in 6 days. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Hopefully this video just shines some light and some, topic of conversation of this subject. If you have any experience, if you've dealt with great technicians, if you've dealt with horrible technicians, great dealers, bad dealers, if you're a technician, if you share a different insight, if you share the same insight, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment down below and we'll discuss. With that being said, I'll catch everyone on the next one.